Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. This is Jameer. Today, we're going to talk about the word Ashrei, and we're going to examine Psalm 1:1, or Tehillim, Aleph, Aleph, because remember that Hebrew consonants are also numbers. And so we have our verse, Ashrei Ha'ish, Asher Lo Halach, Ba'atzat Risha'im, ובדרך חטאים לא עמד, ובמושב לצים לא ישב. And so our focus right now is the word ashrei. So this is a congratulatory formula, ashrei, frequently found or frequently occurs in Psalms and frequently in wisdom poetry. It should be noted that also the so-called Beatitudes, and if I haven't said this before, I will say it now, the titles in the Bible and in the apostolic writings are misleading and oftentimes wrong. So you would do good to ignore almost all of them and simply read the text itself. Um, so in the Beatitudes, or it's called the Beatitudes, the Ashrei formula is used, and we can see a demonstration of that here. Matai He, so Matthew 5, starting at verse 3. This is from the modern New Testament, which is I can't recommend using unless you have some understanding of Greek, because it's not really a good text to use alone because of the modern language that's used. So there's places where things are not really good. But the title of Matthew 5 in the modern Hebrew New Testament is Ashrei. And you see each verse begins with Ashrei, verse 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 11, Ashreichem. So your fortune as a second masculine plural suffix meaning multiple you. And then verse 12, Simchu vegilu, so rejoice and be exceedingly or exuberantly glad. So that's how this ends. But again, this is an Ashrei formula used in Matthew 5. Okay, so then Ashrei is what we refer to as a plural construct. Plural construct shows, or construct form in general in Hebrew, it's a fancy way of saying shows possession. So the construct shows possession, who something belongs to. So this fortune belongs to the man that later we'll find out what he does in order to have this enthusiastic exclamation, right? Ashrei is also a formula of well-wishing. The well-wishing is a joyous exclamation and an enthusiastic observation. Oh, how fortunate is the man or person, Ha'ish. So Ashrei Ha'ish, how fortunate is the man or the fortunes of the man. Ashrei is considered a secular term, meaning non-religious, and is to be distinguished from the solemn liturgical or religious term Baruch, where you see an example in Jeremiah 7:17. It says Baruch HaGever. So Gever is kind of another term for ish or man or young man. So blessed is the man Asher Yivtach by Yahweh. So blessed, the man is blessed that will trust in Yahweh. Okay, so but not the same word or meaning or idea as Ashrei. So if you have a English translation that says blessed, and it does say that in the apostolic writings, so that's not a correct understanding or translation. I think some translations say happy. To say happy or fortunate is better. Now the of the truly fortunate life is the power of the Torah. It becomes the glorifying, congratulatory statement. And this is from Word Biblical Commentary, a scholarly commentary. Though if you use scholarly commentaries, you want to use at least 3 because everyone has a different viewpoint. Here we're only using this one. So, but what are the characteristics of the truly fortunate person? This question is answered in verses 1 through 3 in the negative and then in the positive. And of course, we're just viewing verse 1 right now. The truly fortunate person separates himself from conduct that is at enmity with God. He does not accept eitzah or advice. So here, halach ba'atzat reshaim, in the counsel of the wicked ones. So the lexical form is eitzah. From reshaim, the wicked ones. It does not walk the way of sinners. So the word halak, to walk or go, or he walked or went. This can be a religious term, meaning in following the ways of the Torah or following the ways of the world. This when Yeshua says to his disciples or to those who he had chosen to follow after him, it probably is meant, and also not just physically walking, but also this liturgical idea of following after his ways, the ways of the Torah that he presents to those who follow him, and does not sit or yashav in the circle, moshav, uve moshav, letzim, so scoffers, letzim. So uve letzim lo yashav. So in the circle of scoffers, he does not stand. The climax of these 3 terms, halach, amad, and yashav, it can be noted, yashav to sit, amad to stand, and halach to walk. The strict separation from the nations is a commandment from Israel's oldest periods. You can see Numbers 23:9. Thus, a wise person will avoid all concourse with scoffers or letzim, and the wicked ones, reshaim, and fools. The word for fool is kasil. It's added in, but it probably has, I mean, if you're following the way of the wicked, then you do fall into the category of being a fool anyway. In the Torah relation of our psalm, it is the Sadiq whose distinctive characteristics is separation from those whose intention is hostile to God. So we look at Psalm 26:4, Saneti Kahal, so I hate the word Sane and Sane means to hate. I'm just gonna throw this out there, and then Hav means to love, but not always in the sense of the emotional westernized idea of love. Sine can mean reject. In a Torah portion, when these terms are used, or even when Yahweh says that Esav he hates and Jacob he loves, so he rejected Esav and accepted Jacob. There's another word, ratzon. It's like for your acceptance. So there might be some relation to ratzon and ahav in the sense of being accepted. And then the acceptance or love has to do with the commandments and the Torah, in short, anyway. And so here, the end of the psalm, he says, Reshaim lo eshev. So the wicked ones, I will not sit. And then here we have the counsel of the wicked is not going to be accepted, and then the seat of scoffers or the circle of scoffers, lo yashav, he did not sit. And so we have the same idea here with Rishaim, lo eshev, sorry. So the wicked ones, I did not sit with them. Okay. Now that we have defined the characteristics of the Sadiq or the righteous one who is to be who is to separate himself, the Rasha, Rasha is the singular form of Reshaim, is originally one who has been proved guilty in respect to an accusation in court. The Rasha is the one who has been found guilty before the Torah of God, because the Torah is what measures not how many worship songs we sing or how we feel, because those things are not stable things. Your emotions are not stable. You can be happy one moment, sad the next. But the Torah, God's instructions, are stable. It's a stable law that we can put our feet on and keep us grounded. So this is how we will be judged at the end of our lives, by the Torah of God, not by, Pastor so and so's sermon or the newest Jesus is my boyfriend song. None of those things are going to help us. This is what we have to stand on, that's steady and stable. Instructions of God, His Torah. So one who is excluded from the dwelling place or sanctuary by order of a priest. You can see Psalm 15, and then 5:15 and Psalm 5:8. The Reshaim, or the wicked ones, despise the Torah of Yahweh. They have their own principles of life and their own maxims, which we have seen, or Eitzah. Eitzah means counsel, their own counsels. And then Be'atzat Reshaim, remember we said that this is the lexical form of this word is Eitzah. I'm not going to go into inflected words and all of that, but okay, so they have their own sets, and we see that increasingly, right, in our society, from abortion to um, men and women, and I'm not talking about rules, but just like common sense things that, you know. And of course, we saw the incident that's happened at the Catholic school and carried out by we know who, and we're not surprised either. And I thought, like, right from the beginning, as soon as I saw the news, I just thought, I already know who most likely did this. So we see society going on a downward spiral, and most of society is motivated by emotions. So how I feel and what I think and how I feel in this moment and how I feel in the next moment, or this doesn't sound good to me, and it's not just the world, it's those who call themselves believers as well, because they have many opinions about things that um, we should know that are wrong, but then we make exceptions. Well, if you do this um, procedure, in the first 6 weeks, then it's okay. Or what about this instance when this happens to a woman? So we start to make these exceptions, but it's because we don't have our feet firmly planted in the Torah of God. So I think it's Genesis 5:9 or 9:5. God, even the animals who shed blood are going to be accountable for that. People don't understand, believers don't understand how precious blood is to God. And needlessly spilling blood is definitely something you don't want to do. So in any case, and that's the thing with also tattooing, because it's a form of bloodletting. So people say, why is it wrong? Hey, I could do what I want, but then that's to say that, your body belongs to you, and so you're free, but I would probably be a little more cautious. If there's something that has a caution to it, like, well, some people say this is right and some say it's wrong. So instead of running headlong to do it, it's better just to leave it and say, okay, well, because I'm not sure, um, I'm just not going to do this thing because, it's not that important anyway. And it's better to err on the side of caution than to do the desire and then find out afterwards that, well, that wasn't the thing to do. We do learn by trial and error, but there is the option to avoid certain situations altogether. So, all right. So move forward now to the next slide. The Khata'im, or the sinners, are known for a specific offense against a given commandment of prohibition. Therefore, the reference is to their way, or derech. Their error is recognized in what they have done. So, u'v'derech Khata'im, and in the way of the sinners, lo amad, he did not stand. And finally, the let's, or letzim is the plural, or scoffer, has preference for the circle, or moshav, the association in which he is incited to emit strong mocking words directed at God. His manner of speech and thought may in the Tanakh be deduced from Isaiah 28:15, Psalm 73:8 through 11, and Malachi 3:14. In wisdom poetry, the scoffer is a figure that occurs again and again. So we have the word mushav and yashav, so there's a bit of a play on that. The circle, a mushav can also be a village or a seat. And you see that mushav has the same last two consonants as yashav. It's kind of like we see a lot of these word plays. Like I always like to use shin kaf nun, so which means to live or dwell, and then God's presence dwells in the Mishkan, the dwelling place, what is termed a sanctuary in your Bibles, but it's not a term that I hold dear at all. Because again, you wouldn't see this. So his name, presence, dwelling in the dwelling place. All right. So anyway, all right. So we read through this about let's. Okay, let's seem scoffers. Okay, from all these people hostile to God, the Sadiq, or righteous one, separates himself. This separation is a prerequisite for the true good fortune. It is not Pharisaism in a narrow sense, but faith prerequisite for life, which is emphatically demanded in the apostolic writings or New Testament as well. You can see 2 Corinthians 5:11, but to know that this verse is based on these scriptures from the Tanakh, Joshua 24:14, Psalm 34:9, 36:1, 110:10, Proverbs 1:7, Ecclesiastes 3:14, and 12:13. There's also a couple of other verses as well, but you can work with that one. Again, cannot stress enough that when you read the apostolic writings, the first question that should come to your mind is, where is this in the Tanakh? Because 100% of the time it's going to be from there. In Yeshua's own writings, the references were either direct quotes, paraphrases, or allusions to the Tanakh. And that is it. So Ashrei Ha'ish, truly fortunate, the fortune of the man, Asher lo halach, so that does not go ba'asat reshaim, in the counsel of the wicked ones, Uvedere chataim, and in the way of sinners, lo amad, he does not stand. Uve moshav letzim, and in the circle or seat of scoffers, lo yashav. Let that be our mantra for this week, especially the beginning. Ashrei Ha'ish, Shabbat Shalom to everybody, and Shavua Tov, and may God's peace find you as you obey His commandments and obey His Torah by honoring His day. To Him be all the glory. Until next time, Hitraot, everybody, and again, Shabbat Shalom.